Hello everybody, this is No Sport, the developer of Storm over Europe, Redux. What we're going to do is take a little look at the first mission of the Redux campaign. I have shared this map in a little update. This is the invasion of Denmark. It is a lot bigger of a map. You have all of Denmark, part of Sweden, and Norway up here, which is neutral, even though technically you're at war now. And then you have northern Germany right here. This mission is pretty straightforward. Our main objective is to capture Copenhagen, which is right up here. Then capture all the airfields by the end of the mission. We have an elite objective here, which is to capture this by turn 8. We do have some Marines right here that are ready to do that. We also have the old Dutchland class battleship, the World War II pre-dreadnought. We have a little bit of Air Force. So we are starting off actually with an Air Force only mission, but you do have a lot of auxiliary ground forces here. You're assisting the 198th and 170th infantry divisions, so you do get a strong air force. The idea behind this is most of your ground forces are actually in transit up to Norway, up here and over here. But you do have a special mission actually. In the first few missions of the Norway campaign, you will not have access to panzers. So what's actually happening is you're going to be escorting this panzer battalion. We don't have any heroes, and right now they don't, I should say. Next mission, they will. You're not just getting any panzers, you're getting older panzers. So you're getting Panzer 3B, Panzer 2A, not OS A, the actual first Panzer 2A. You get 2 of those. You get a Panzer 1A2, and you get this beautiful tank. 4 of them will have heroes that will eventually carry over into the training mission. The other one does not. So you have the Karlsruhe here, escorted by 3 destroyers. This is your task force. I'm going to sail up this way. And there's a few changes here, actually, I'd like to point out. So we are coming up. I recently added pioneers for mountain divisions and also for for airborne forces. They are about 1 to 2 stats weaker than their non-specialized forces, but they do have bonuses. Obviously it can be paratroops, the airborne troops. Mountain troops fight in alpine, so they get plus attack and defense in hills and mountains. Germany now does start with some mountain artillery, which is great. It used to be locked behind vents and stuff. I changed that a little bit. One of the big changes is recon. So these two, the FI 156 storage and HS 126, you can get some captured ones, like the Boulevard Q2. These do not have any core slot cost. The exchange for that, though, is you only can have 3 during a mission deployed. So some things about them: they're a recon plane. They have a double move. They are camouflaged. They are very weak. They have no defenses. And they have no overstrength. So they can only move 8 points. But they also do not have to be rebased. It's the movement nerf. So they can go here, and next turn they'll start here. The other change is, so we have 109 E5, you also have the HE1 or HE70. These are light, or I should say more medium recon planes. The higher up you go, so HE70 has a little bit of defense, not much, but the BF-109 has more defense. They're still not as good as the fighter equivalents, but in a pinch, they work really well. So these have more movement speed than your light recon planes, but they have to be rebased every turn. To help compensate for that, they actually have the fast rebase trait. They still cannot be overstrengthed, but overall they're fun. You're limited to one of these, but they do cost a core slot. And the other big change is you now have heavy recon plane. These recon planes will move the farthest. So this is a 27 one. I think one of the JU 388s I added in has like 30 movement points. They do also have, excuse me, I lost my train of thought. They don't have anything special besides movement on them. They can attack ships. They're not the greatest at that. They prefer lightly armored ships where they'll do a lot more damage. They also have the highest spotting at 5. Your light planes have 4, or I should say your medium planes have 4, and then your light planes have 3. And then one other main change is all the tokens now that you can carry over. They're no longer, I think most of them are in your tanks. Started eating up a lot of tanks. They are now all located in the structure tab. It's just an organizational thing. While we're on tanks, there are some changes I implemented. You no longer get, you might have very limited availability of the Panzer 3s and 4s. Obviously, they were not greatly produced until after the Battle of France. And the idea is you have been limited by High Command, and other divisions get an assortment of them too. So it actually helps increase the challenge. What I've went ahead and done is, we'll get this battle started. I went ahead and deployed my forces. These were automatically deployed to the map. We'll go ahead and try to take Denmark. So we do have elite points coming up. That is something that was in 9440 Part 1. It's obviously a feature that's carrying over in Redux. I think you started with 300 in 1940. I went ahead and reduced that because during my numerous playthroughs, I was finding out I really had a lot. The Danish really didn't have much of an air force. I have one fighter, just in case. Nice crate. Alright. Go ahead and do... our recon planes to see. Okay. Why are you scouting water? There's a reason. There is a reason. One of the reasons I know people asked why aren't these player controlled? Well, because people will just hide them back. in order to actually get your tanks, so if you want the Panzer 3B, the Panzer 3B better survive on its trip up. Your new Barfog, yeah, I can't even say that, is going to have to survive in order to get it. Same with your Panzer 1A2, and your two Panzer 2As. They have to survive the trip up to Norway. Otherwise, you will not get the tank. Survive, you say, though. That's what I'm hearing. Well, this ship sunk on the way to Norway. There was a few other German ships that sunk up on the way to Norway. So there may or may not be some British friends, we'll say, along the way. Okay. This has my Gatland on it. Use our airborne troopers. Can't do anything until next turn. Alright. So one of my intents actually is I love these big maps. A lot of the maps, so this one is actually reused later in the mission during the campaign for Operation R. I believe I mentioned that in a dev diary. Maps, where possible, will be reused because one, it saves time in development. Two, it also, a lot of the campaigns will eventually merge in a way. Not necessarily sure that's the right word, but there will be overlap eventually. Should have brought my pioneers there. Can't really do much. Nice. Good for now there. Double tap. Nice. Alright, pretty much everything is moved. This campaign will be 30/31 missions. The training is obviously optional, but training provides a lot of heroes, new units, so avoid it at your own risk. And this is why 5 slots. There's a British submarine. Huh. That's why that ship sunk. So we'll go ahead and form a little defense perimeter. What we will do. Critted. Not been good about using my recon planes. Overall, pretty much every map except the few has been reworked. I recently just went through and changed base match the whole hallway campaign, where every map has been greatly expanded. Overall, I'm expecting release. I believe I put out publicly May 10th to June 22nd. Those dates are for a reason. May 10th actually being the start of the invasion of the lowlands. The Low Countries, sorry. And then June 22nd, pretty much close to the wrap-up of the campaign. there are a few missions afterwards that take place afterwards, but they really have no bearing on the campaign. Double attack. Copenhagen's captured. Scenario's pretty... It's not super easy. It's not a cakewalk. But it's close. Like, Denmark was going to lose anyways. There was no really stopping Germany. Yes, I probably should have used you guys earlier, but whatever. So it's weird, I am not, when I am recording or being watched, I'm not a good player. I often have when my wife is watching, I just play like complete crap. She's not watching right now, but I am recording this, and yeah, I just play bad. It's one of those like pressure effect things. Kind of funny. There is no, like no real pressure in a single player game, but it's something that happens. This happens earlier. Originally, it was during the training mission. He does die, literally. I think so by April 1st is when the Spanish Civil War was over. He dies April 4th that year, so he's one of those rare, you know, he was doing acrobatics, which is true. He died, I think he had CR 32. And luckily it wasn't one of our aircraft, as it mentions there. Alright. Pass little defensives. That's the worst part right there. Alright. Oh look, another submarine. So Murado, he's really he's kind of an OP working character because the no slot or zero slots one of the reasons I got rid of him. It was very difficult to balance around at first. Became easier once he's gone. Alright, Copenhagen Airport. Some of these guys got beat up. Don't mind, so I'll use my prestige. We'll go ahead and move our aircraft over. Copenhagen's secure. Or tank killer. You're not going to help much. Let's get lucky. I'm speaking of Murado. Reminds me of it. So what actually happened is President Johnson, if he actually won re-election instead of standing down in 1968, he is a guy who actually dies in 3 days after he would have got out of office. Johnson, so president's term ends January 20th, after their election, whatever I'm trying to say. And he literally dies January 23rd, 1973. Ouch. So I'll show you again. It's not always... I can lose hit points. I mean, most submarines did have a gun that can be used against airplanes and ship frigates. So, not unheard of. It sucks, but hey, it is what it is on that. Through. Right. Go. And I need someone over there. We're not done with him, but I'll play a role in a moment. Guys up. We've already accomplished the primary objectives. Right now we're just, well, besides that, right now we're just going to try and get our accommodation points that we need. You still lots of points. That's free base. Excuse. Oh well. We will use you. Move up. Move up. One of the other features is there are minesweepers. There's not any in this mission. But but it is something that got added. Yay. Don't play good when I'm semi-preoccupied by, work. Yo, Sebs. That one. Everybody up there. Alright. Why did you all go? The AI on this is weird. They are set to try and target these guys. My first time playing through, I fell through, survived with 1 hit point. I was like, ooh. Say I don't need to take the town. It sucked. I believe you died. Alright, doesn't matter if you lose it. There we go. That provides a handful of not crops. I have tons of artillery. I believe it's 155mm ones. Alright, we went ahead and captured our objectives. Yes, our transports do not make it to Norway by the end of the mission. Kind of working as intended. You're pretty close to getting up there. And yay. And I will go ahead and show off really quickly what happens in the next mission. Probably will not play it as a recording, but just show overall. It is another greatly expanded map. The original Oslo Ford is really small. This one is nearly 50 by 50. I think it's like 48 by 42 is the expanded one, where the Axis Operation one was low 30s, high 20s in hexes. Some of these bigger missions, they do actually take longer to load. That is one of the downfalls of having more expansive maps. with more units and more terrain is they take longer to load. Obviously, the newer the PC you have, the faster the load time. Changed the mission briefing a bit. I scroll through it. You guys can read it all when you play. Cool. Lightning attack. Available prestige. Alright, I'm not really going to show off a lot here. Not going to deploy anything. You do have. They start off encircled. They're not. So you'll get on the first mission, or I should say first turn, they will deploy. There are few missions in this campaign where they will be delayed, or you'll only have like 3 of the 5 tanks. You will get all 5 again, assuming they survive their trip down or up from Denmark. We'll go ahead and look at the heroes real quick. So the Panzer 1 A2, you have Captain von Bernstein. So you get 1 soft attack, 1 hard attack, reduced slots. Doesn't really mean much right now because they're auxiliary, and then phase movement. Captain Tolkien, again, 1 soft attack, 1 hard attack, 2 slots, but they're a lightning attack. This is one of the Panzer IIs. The other one is Captain Nedrick, 1 soft, 1 hard attack, provocateur. This is a fictional character. It is actually a Germanized name of one of the testers. He is not a hero that carries over from the tanks. Then Holland's Horseman, so reduced slots and artillery support. And then here are the ships, very similar to the transports of the last mission. If you were the player, you can just hide them back and they will survive. So that's not really that much fun. Showing the map off a little bit. Oslo is up here. Put a little bit more to the north, a little bit more to the west and east, a little bit further south. Parts of Sweden right here. Just more expansive map. Your ships that you need to protect, they will try and go up here. So we'll just show off those real quick. And we're just playing around. So these are the minesweepers that you have. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. So there's a few minesweeper classes, the M1935, M1940, and M1943. They're not going to be available except when they're placed in the mission. And they take out sea mines, just like a Pioneer takes out landmines. So, pretty much same objectives. One of the things I will say also is I'm not always going to tell you in the briefing you cannot deploy stuff. I generally will keep it as an objective, I should say. It will be in that area and it will be a little deployment tab. And it will tell you what you cannot deploy. So I've been No Sport, everybody. I can't wait to see you guys on the battlefield soon. Thanks and have a great day.